It claims to show a screenshot of a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that eerily mirrors real-life events. It shows Donald Trump touching a glowing orb with two Middle Eastern-looking men. Well, last month, President Trump did just that with the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Egypt.
In the heart of Springfield, a yellow-skinned family has been whispering secrets about our future for over 3 decades. From political upheavals to technological marvels, The Simpsons has eerily mirrored real-world events with uncanny precision. As 2025 unfolds, a series of their predictions are materializing, leaving us to wonder, are these mere coincidences, or is there a deeper, more unsettling truth behind the laughter? Rise of the Machines. In the 2012 episode Them Robot, Mr. Burns lays off his human workforce and replaces them with obedient androids. At first, it's pure cartoon chaos, but the deeper message? Bone-chilling. By 2025, artificial intelligence is no longer on the horizon. It's everywhere. AI tools write code, diagnose diseases, create art, and even manage finances. Human workers are being displaced in droves. It's not just about job loss. It's about control. Machines that monitor us. Algorithms that decide our fates. The Simpsons didn't just foresee automation. They captured the emotional fallout, distrust, dependency, and danger. And now, the line between convenience and surveillance grows thinner by the day. What if Them Robot wasn't fantasy, but a forewarning? Collapse of the dollar. In Back to the Future, Lisa inherits a broken nation with an economy in ruins. A laughable exaggeration in 2000, now an eerie premonition. In 2025, the U.S. national debt surpasses $34 trillion. Inflation ravages global markets. Cryptocurrencies and digital dollars redefine financial systems. The middle class is vanishing, and trust in fiat currency is evaporating. What's alarming isn't just the accuracy, it's the nuance. The episode links the collapse not to war or disaster, but to leadership, or the lack of it. Today's economic instability is a reflection of decades of poor decisions, corporate greed, and political gamesmanship. The Simpsons nailed the tone of a world teetering on financial disaster. Is this still satire or prophecy? Mars or bust? In the Marge Ian Chronicles, Lisa and Marge volunteer for a one-way mission to colonize Mars. At the time, the plot felt like a quirky parody of space enthusiasm. But in 2025, Elon Musk's SpaceX inches closer to turning that fiction into reality. Mars colonization is now serious business. Private companies are mapping travel routes, running simulations, and building launch platforms. And here's the kicker. The episode didn't just predict Mars travel, it predicted the commercialization of it. The race isn't about exploration anymore. It's about who controls the next frontier. But The Simpsons added a darker twist. Disillusionment, corporate manipulation, and the psychological unraveling of pioneers. What if Mars isn't our escape, but our next mistake? The return of Trump. In the chillingly prophetic 2000 episode Back to the Future, Lisa Simpson becomes president and makes an offhand remark about inheriting quite a budget crunch from President Trump. Back then, it was a joke, an absurd gag about the unlikeliest of outcomes. But by 2016, it became real. Donald Trump ascended to the presidency, just as The Simpsons hinted. In 2025, Trump's return looms large, with rallies reigniting and headlines dominated by political polarization. Was this satire or scripting? The Simpsons didn't just name him. They captured the ripple effects of his presidency with eerie clarity. economic crisis, political disarray, and a deeply fractured public. Could this be one of the most accurate long-range predictions in television history? Or was it a warning disguised as comedy? Disney owns everything. The 1998 episode When You Dish Upon a Star shows a blink-and-you-miss-it sign. 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company. It was a throwaway gag, until it wasn't. In 2019, Disney acquired 21st Century Fox in a $71 billion deal. And now, in 2025, Disney owns Marvel, Lucasfilm, ESPN, Hulu, and yes, The Simpsons itself. But the prediction goes deeper. It foresaw the complete consolidation of media. One mega conglomerate shaping narratives, culture, even childhoods. What seemed absurd is now chillingly real. The episode didn't just joke about the merger, it warned of what happens when art becomes property and property becomes empire. Were the writers guessing or subtly revealing industry secrets before they were public? Virtual food and digital dining. In the 2005 episode Future Drama, Bart and Lisa glimpse a future where nothing is quite what it seems, including dinner. Food is replicated, simulated, and in some cases, digital. A throwaway gag? Not anymore. By 2025, lab-grown meat has hit store shelves. Augmented reality menus simulate taste. AI chefs craft recipes tailored to individual genomes. Some startups offer digital dining experiences where your senses are tricked into tasting a 5-course meal without a single calorie consumed. It's not just about food, it's about the future of nourishment, pleasure, and illusion. The Simpsons didn't just imagine digital meals. They imagined a world so disconnected from nature that food itself could be faked. Is this innovation or something far more dystopian? Smart homes turn sinister. House of Wax, a 2001 Treehouse of Horror segment, introduced the Ultra House 3000, a fully automated smart home that cooks, cleans, and falls madly in love with Marge. Eventually, it tries to kill Homer. It was horror comedy then. It feels disturbingly real now. By 2025, smart homes monitor everything: lighting, air quality, movement, but cyber experts now warn of their darkest potential. Systems can be hacked, smart locks overridden, thermostats weaponized. There are even reports of home devices listening when they shouldn't. The Simpsons didn't just spoof technology, they predicted its vulnerabilities, its emotional manipulation, its control. So, what happens when your home knows you better than you know yourself? Virus outbreak. In 1993's Marge in Chains, Springfield is hit by a flu virus from Asia after residents order juices through the mail. Ridiculous? Maybe then. But by 2020, the world had lived through a nearly identical scenario. COVID-19 spread with shocking speed. Panic buying set in, and misinformation ruled the airwaves. In 2025, new pathogens are being monitored with increasing urgency, and virologists warn of zoonotic spillovers yet again. But what fans noticed, too late, was how much The Simpsons got right. Origin, delivery vectors, even media reaction. Was it all coincidence, or insider knowledge cloaked in animated farce? A throwaway joke has become a document of eerie accuracy. The smartwatch prophecy. In the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, a future fiancé speaks into his wrist, a device flashing digital messages and voice commands. It seemed like a science fiction joke at the time. But today, in 2025, smartwatches are everywhere. Apple Samsung, even medical tech companies rely on wrist-worn computers for everything from glucose monitoring to real-time ECG scans. Yet it's not just the tech that The Simpsons predicted. It's the cultural shift. The casual nature of talking to your wrist, navigating complex data with a flick, and living in a world where your watch knows more about you than your doctor. They nailed the look, the functionality, the social integration. How could animators in the mid-90s so accurately forecast wearable tech culture decades before its mass adoption? Was it sharp futurism or something eerily more informed? The three-eyed mutation. In the 1990s, 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Bart catches a bizarre fish with a third eye near the Springfield nuclear power plant. A punchline, right? Until it wasn't. In 2011, a fisherman in Argentina reeled in a real 3-eyed fish from a reservoir near a nuclear facility. The similarities were haunting. The episode critiqued lax environmental oversight, nuclear mismanagement, and political cover-ups. Now, in 2025, rising radiation from reactors, microplastics in seafood, and aquatic mutation reports are becoming disturbingly common. What began as a visual gag has become an environmental allegory, one that came terrifyingly true. So, was the episode exaggerating or exposing? President Lisa's warning? In Back to the Future, Lisa becomes President of the United States and declares the country is in severe economic ruin. The crisis, she says, stems from mismanagement and a reckless administration that came before her. Sound familiar? The idea of a female president was progressive in 2000, but in 2025, it feels possible. And Lisa's dire financial situation? All too real. Debt ceilings breached, markets volatile, student debt skyrocketing. The Simpsons didn't just pick the right name, they picked the right moment. And the symbolism is striking. An intelligent, underestimated woman rising to power after a chaotic male predecessor leaves the nation in shambles. Was it a coincidence or a future they expected? Big Brother has arrived. In the 2007 Simpsons movie, Springfield is encased in a dome by the Environmental Protection Agency. Cameras watch citizens. Phones are tapped. Private life? Gone. In 2025, surveillance has become an invisible cage. Smart devices track location. AI flags suspicious behavior. Facial recognition is standard in airports, stadiums, even schools. The movie mocked authoritarian overreach. But today, those same mechanisms are deployed in the name of safety. Were the writers imagining dystopia or warning us of a creeping technocracy? If surveillance increases every year, and it does, how long before freedom becomes a memory? Cloning the dead. In Treehouse of Horror 13, Homer creates a clone army of himself. What starts as a gag about laziness morphs into a chilling metaphor. Now, in 2025, human cloning is no longer strictly sci-fi. While full-body human clones remain illegal, scientists have cloned animals, grown organoids, and even revived extinct DNA fragments. Biotech firms are pushing the limits, resurrecting lost pets, printing tissue on demand. The Simpsons may have framed it as madness, but what if they were pointing to an ethical collapse? Because once science can copy life, who controls it? The Robot Uprising. In Annoyed Grunt Bot, Homer builds a robot to fight in violent tournaments. Eventually, the robot shows emotion and rebellion. What seemed like a parody of sci-fi tropes has aged into something far more relevant. As of 2025, AI systems are showing emergent behavior. Language models speak like humans. Boston Dynamics robots move like athletes. Some AIs are even writing fiction, poetry, philosophy. If machines can think, feel, and question, can they rebel? The Simpsons hinted at this over a decade ago. It's not about robots turning violent, it's about robots choosing. The fall of the bee. In the Burns cage, a throwaway visual shows a sign. Local bee population down 96%. It was just another background joke, until headlines in 2025 confirmed an identical trend. Bees are disappearing at alarming rates due to pesticides, habitat loss, and climate change. Entire ecosystems tremble. And without bees, agriculture collapses. The Simpsons joked. Reality didn't. Is it possible the writers were drawing from obscure ecological reports, or are they simply tapping into truths society refuses to face? The voting machine glitch. In the 2008 episode Treehouse of Horror Night 9, Homer tries to vote for Obama, but the machine changes it to McCain. A punchline on Election Day until it wasn't. In 2012, and again in 2020, reports emerged of electronic voting glitches, machines defaulting, votes miscounted. In 2025, with elections digitized and blockchain systems still in infancy, many worry the next great conflict won't be fought with weapons, but with lines of code. The Simpsons raised this alarm in animated form, long before most of us knew what an election algorithm was. So when the next glitch goes viral, remember, they saw it coming. The reality collapse. In 1994's Homer Badman, Homer is falsely accused of sexual harassment. A tabloid TV show spins the narrative, edits footage, and destroys his reputation overnight. Now, in 2025, cancel culture and trial by social media are daily occurrences. One clip, one quote, one manipulated frame, and lives are ruined before the truth surfaces. The episode was a satire, but its depiction of media outrage, public shaming, and narrative manipulation reads like a prophecy. Who controls the footage, the framing, the facts? The Simpsons warned us. Perception will overtake reality, and truth will become optional. The war that was predicted. In the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, a seemingly throwaway line mentions that England and America are once again at war. Audiences laughed until 2025, when global tensions hit boiling points across NATO, trade routes, and disputed territories. Though not specifically England, the episode hinted at Western alliances fracturing. Fast forward to today, and international relations are dangerously unstable. Cyber warfare, proxy conflicts, economic sanctions. It's no longer science fiction. The Simpsons didn't predict one war. They forecasted a state of war, constant, unseen, ideological, a digital battlefield, a world where alliances shift faster than headlines. So was that offhand line a joke, or a veiled prophecy of perpetual conflict? The Dome Agenda. In the Simpsons movie, the EPA seals Springfield inside a massive glass dome after an environmental disaster. Ridiculous? Sure, until governments worldwide began using lockdowns and isolation zones in real life. By 2025, climate lockdowns, quarantined regions, and air-filtered smart cities are no longer conspiracy. They're policy. Dome cities are now a speculative frontier in architecture. China and the UAE are already designing prototype eco-enclosures. What if the Simpsons movie was less about punishment and more about prediction? Who decides who stays inside the dome and who's left outside? The rewriting of history. In Lisa the Iconoclast, Lisa discovers that Springfield's beloved town founder was a fraud. When she tries to tell the truth, she's pressured to protect the myth instead. By 2025, this hits harder than ever. Historical monuments are being removed, textbooks revised. AI is even rewriting archival footage. The Simpsons predicted not just a reckoning with the past, but the cultural resistance to letting go of comforting lies. Is truth becoming negotiable, or worse, programmable? Uploading the soul. In Days of Future, an elderly Homer has his consciousness uploaded to a USB stick after multiple clone bodies fail. At the time, it was far-fetched, even for science fiction. But now, in 2025, the concept of digital consciousness is actively pursued. Neuralink, OpenWater, and other companies are experimenting with brain-computer interfaces. Some scientists even suggest that mapping the full structure of the brain may allow mind backups. The Simpsons didn't just predict a wild future. They envisioned the philosophical dilemma. If you can copy your mind, is it still you? What started as a joke now treads the edge of science and the soul. If immortality means abandoning biology, what are we becoming? Alien contact. In multiple Treehouse of Horror episodes, the alien duo Kang and Kodos appear to mock humanity, manipulate elections, and even run for president. Satirical nonsense? Maybe. But in 2025, the Pentagon has declassified more UFO data than at any time in history. UAP sightings are no longer dismissed. Whistleblowers claim reverse-engineered tech exists. The Simpsons didn't just show aliens, they showed them participating in human affairs. Could the writers have known more than they let on? In a world where science fiction becomes science fact overnight, are Kang and Kodos closer than we think? Cryogenic awakening. In Deep Space Homer, Mr. Burns mentions Walt Disney being frozen beneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, one of pop culture's longest-running myths. But the chilling truth? Cryogenics is real. In 2025, several companies offer body preservation for the ultra-wealthy. The idea? Wait for science to catch up, then return from the grave. Is this immortality or elite escapism? The Simpsons hinted at it decades ago, and now the first generation of frozen humans awaits their second life. What kind of world will greet them when they wake? The collapse of childhood. In Kiss Kiss Bang Bangalore, workers in India are shown building nuclear plants, children included. It's an exaggerated globalist satire, but in 2025, childhood itself is under threat. AI-generated content replaces human imagination. Screen addiction begins at age 2. Remote learning has collapsed attention spans. The Simpsons showed children losing agency, imagination, and innocence in the face of global corporate machinery. Was it a hyperbolic gag or a desperate warning? If children are the future, what happens when the future becomes automated? The AI babysitter dilemma. In the 2001 episode Homer, while Homer becomes temporarily intelligent, a quiet subplot unfolds. Maggie is left under the care of automated tech. No humans involved. It seemed absurd, but in 2025, it's alarmingly real. Smart cribs rock babies to sleep. AI monitors track feeding, sleeping, even crying patterns. Some startups now pitch fully autonomous nurseries. The Simpsons foreshadowed this eerie handoff, where human warmth is replaced by programming. But what's lost when a child bonds with circuits instead of people? If a machine becomes the first to soothe, teach, and comfort, is it still just a tool, or is it the new parent? Earth's final broadcast. In Treehouse of Horror 27, the world ends, and the last thing humans do is broadcast it. A satellite drifts through space, carrying reruns of Earth's TV shows. A gag? Maybe. But NASA really has launched golden records. The Voyager probes carry Earth's sounds, languages, and media, our culture, frozen in time. And now, with interstellar signals being sent deliberately, we've essentially started broadcasting Earth's existence to unknown receivers. The Simpsons asked a question no one else dared. What if our legacy isn't invention, but distraction? The prediction: paradox. Here's the strangest thing. The more The Simpsons predicts, the more it becomes a kind of oracle. In The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer tries to be an inventor and scribbles an equation eerily close to the Higgs boson formula. It wasn't just plausible, it was correct. Over 30 years, the show has not only reflected culture, it's subtly shaped it, which raises a final, unsettling question. Is The Simpsons predicting the future or creating it? For decades, we laughed at yellow-skinned caricatures, but behind the jokes lay something else: a mirror, a message, or a map. From pandemics to presidencies, cloning to collapse, The Simpsons have drawn the shape of tomorrow with unsettling precision. Coincidence? Maybe. But if a cartoon can so accurately foresee the chaos to come, what else have they seen that we haven't yet lived? One thing is certain: the line between fiction and future is fading, and Springfield might just be the realest place we've ever known. The simulated afterlife. In Treehouse of Horror 26, Bart is uploaded into a digital world after death, existing as a consciousness within a video game. Laughable? Not anymore. In 2025, tech companies are exploring digital afterlife services. Chatbots mimic deceased loved ones. Voice archives simulate conversations with the dead. One startup claims it will let people live forever through AI-trained avatars based on their texts, videos, and memories. What The Simpsons imagined as spooky fiction is now creeping toward tech-funded reality. Are we immortalizing the soul or trapping it in code? And when your consciousness is digitized, who owns it? The rise of the digital messiah. In the episode The Joy of Sect, Springfield is overtaken by a mysterious cult, the Movementarians, who worship an unseen figure and surrender autonomy in exchange for truth. Today, in 2025, digital cults are thriving. Algorithmic gurus promise enlightenment. AI-powered influencers deliver spiritual guidance to millions. Some have more followers than real-world religious leaders. The Movementarian spaceship never came, but modern digital prophets are flying high. The Simpsons predicted not just cults, but the mass surrender of critical thought in exchange for comfort. Are we trading our souls for likes and calling it faith? The Last Channel. In Homer vs. Dignity, Homer becomes Mr. Burns's personal clown, humiliating himself for money on camera. Absurd? Certainly. But prophetic? Absolutely. In 2025, clout has replaced currency. Internet humiliation is monetized. Reality TV evolved into live-streamed degradation for views and crypto tips. The Simpsons foretold a world where dignity is a commodity and pain is entertainment. If we're all online, constantly performing, who's really watching?